Have you wondered what the difference is between a high-end consumer coating and a professional coating? Well, in today's video, we're going to put these two Armour Detail Supply coatings head-to-head in my full suite of tests. By the end of the video, we'll know exactly what the difference is in these two coatings. July and August have been super busy for me between travel, seeing family, and taking some much-needed vacation time, so a lot of the videos you've seen recently were things that I shot in June and early July. I am making brand new content, and luckily for me, our friends at Armour Detail Supply got me both these boxes right before I went to my Caribbean trip. And I'm told both of these are new formulations, and we've got the Armour Quartz V2 coating here, and we've got the new Professional Quartz coating. These are supposed to be high-end coatings. The company says that they've made improvements to the technology. I have tested the original quartz coating formulation. I was about to test the old Pro coating, but they got me right in time with a new box. So it was very lucky that these guys were able to get these to me right in time. I believe both formulas are out on the market already. I'm very excited to see what's changed and how these two compete head-to-head, and really what is the difference between a Pro formulation and a high-end consumer formulation from the same company. We'll be kicking off application with the Pro version of the product. So let's throw it on the panel and see how it works out. I do really like the printed instructions they included. I like when there's a nice card, something that's easy to read, rather than sometimes those folded up pieces of paper or no instructions. Start by shaking the bottle well. Load some product onto your applicator pad. Use the applicator to lay down a nice, even layer across the panel. A quick cross down the center helps me get a consistent layer as I follow up in a crosshatch. Because this product is so fast flashing, just 30 seconds, I'm gonna leave a piece right here, and we're gonna let that go for more than a minute. This will serve as a good gauge to tell us if the product becomes kind of difficult to use, if you wait a little too long, or if you leave a splotch. We're coming up right at 30 seconds, so I'm starting to see sweating here, and we're gonna go ahead and remove. It says to get most of the product off on the first wipe, and honestly, it seems to be coming off very easily. For a Pro product, that is very, very easy. I just realized that this was supposed to be the regular quartz side, so I'm gonna add the word Pro here, and we'll scratch the word Pro out over here. I labeled that before I thought about it. And now we're right at 2 minutes. Let's see if that's still easy to remove. And it's definitely getting tackier. And we'll give it another minute and we'll see if that top part will come off. And we're at the 3-minute mark. Yeah, 3 minutes in, still not that hard, but you can tell it doesn't want to come off as easy. So now I've got to give an ease of application rating to this Pro version of the Armour Quartz, and I gotta say, I think it's a 10. It's a very easy product. Even at 3 minutes, it was still pretty easy to remove. So if you are working in a climate-controlled area, this is absolutely super easy. One of the more easy professional products I've ever tried, even compared to DIY products. It's still a very easy product. And now we've got the new formula of the regular Armour Quartz product. This is the DIY one. We're gonna throw this on the other side of the panel and see how it compares to the Pro and how it compares to the older quartz, which we have tested before. I can tell this product is not quite as thick as the Pro version. It feels like it doesn't get like kind of grippy as you're going across the panel. Not that the Pro product was particularly grippy. It just doesn't seem to have like a thick layer that remains. The regular quartz product needs up to 5 minutes to flash. We are about ready to wipe up the Armour Quartz coating, and looking at detailscore.com, my new website, we can see the old formula got 0 for ease of use. The product was difficult to use. Let's see if the new formula is easier. Wow, that is very easy to remove. I think actually maybe easier than the Pro one. I'm getting like that immediate slickness. The product is just flying off. Wow, what a complete 180 to the old formula. It reminds me of like Phoenix COD Chronos or Easy Peasy from our friends at Ethos. Just one of those super, super easy products that flies right off the panel when you go to wipe it. And the Pro product is still very easy. Even compared to other DIY coatings, it's still a 10, still a very simple coating to use. Both of these are gonna get 10s for ease of application. This is my optical contact angle meter, and it will let us figure out exactly how hydrophobic both these coatings are. I've already pre-treated some panels a couple of weeks ago. They're cured and completely ready to go for this test. For each panel, I'll be dropping a 3 microliter bead of deionized water on the surface, and then the microscope here will capture the droplet image. I'll use software to measure the angle between the droplet and the surface, giving us an exact contact angle to gauge hydrophobicity. I'll take 5 samples in total per panel. We'll average each result per panel, and then we'll know exactly what the hydrophobicity is like. Do these products make those beautiful beads that we all want to see? The hydrophobicity testing is over. We know all the contact angles, and both these products did very, very well. Now, the new formula of the regular quartz, it came out on top. It got 106.5 degrees on average, with readings as high as 109 degrees. So this is incredibly hydrophobic, and it does get 10 points. Unfortunately, the Pro version couldn't quite get to 10 points. It got 104.5 degrees on average, and 10 points starts at 105 and above for exceptionally hydrophobic products. However, this is still a very hydrophobic product. In individual samples, we did see readings as high as 108 degrees. I would still say both of these products are incredibly hydrophobic, and you might wonder, well, why is that important? You know, we like to see those pretty beads, but what does it really mean? When the surface is very hydrophobic, when it has low adhesion, it really helps keep the car clean. This is why you'll see a car go through some mud and rain, and compared to another vehicle that hasn't been properly protected, you'll say, wow, that one almost still looks clean. Not only does this help when you're driving around in the rain and the mud, whatever, it also helps during car washes. Just like when it's time to do the dishes and you have non-stick pans, it's easier to clean them. It's the same with your car. You don't want to put as much elbow grease in. It makes it so you don't mar and scratch your paint as easily when it's so simple to clean. You'll have better results, you'll have a pretty looking car, and that is kind of the point of the hydrophobicity these products bring. Both these products do have the quality we're looking for. You would be happy with either one of these from that perspective. Before moving on with more testing, I want to remind you that I do have affiliate links down below in the description. If you click through and purchase anything at all at those websites, I do get a small commission that helps me run this channel. Also, I've recently launched a brand new website called detailscore.com, where you can filter and compare all my prior test results in a much more user-friendly, at least I think more user-friendly, interface than my old website. So make sure to check that out when you have a second, and let's get back to the rest of the video, find out just how good these products are. And now it's time to figure out visual appeal, that wow factor. Do these two coatings make the paint pop, add gloss and rich depth that our eyes love to see whenever we look at an LSP, like a wax coating or a sealant? So we're gonna start with a red panel, take a look at that together, and then we'll look at a black panel that I've applied both coatings to a couple of weeks ago, and they're fully cured, and we'll be able to compare. I'll throw the scoring criteria up on the screen, and we'll average the results between both panels. I'm gonna try using some photo stills instead of my usual camera panning, because some of you have reported that it's difficult to see on the screen, and I know it's difficult to see. Some of it comes down to some limitations YouTube has, but also I know when you're using your mobile phone and you're maybe not on Wi-Fi, you may not get a 4K stream. If you look at anything other than a 4K stream, it's even harder to see it with the amount of compression YouTube does. Looking at it with my eye, I can tell you that both of these are stretching to that 10. I think the older formulation of the Armour Quartz was a more solid 10. It was just a bit richer, but this still significantly improves visual quality, and it does add like kind of a warmth, and just the paint looks better. I don't really, if you know, you know. It's kind of hard to describe it exactly. Maybe I'm just not a wordsmith. Both of them look fantastic. On a red car, I would love these. They may not be absolute stunners, but I think they're gonna get a 10 on this red. And I really like where you can see how the reflected light improves between the coated and uncoated section. And here is the black panel, and I think the products look absolutely insane on black. A ton of depth and richness and pop. It's exactly what you want to see if you have a dark colored vehicle. And again, I'll show you some stills of the panel. If you guys like these more, if they're more visible, just let me know in the comments, and I'll use stills more often in the videos if it does help you guys see the difference. Sometimes there can be a bit of a bias when you edit because you see it on this big screen, you kind of know what you're looking for, you think that it may be more obvious than it is. So ultimately, both these products are absolute stunners on black. They look great on red. We're going 10 across the board as the average. These are very pretty products. You would love these on red or black, but especially on black. Slickness plays a very important part in preventing marring, swirls, and scratches, making your car easier to maintain and clean, similar to hydrophobicity. In this test, we're going to work out the static coefficient of friction for both Armour coatings, and we'll know which one provides the most protection and how they compare to other products. We'll see how much gram force it takes to move this 1,040 gram block across the surface. I'll record 5 pulls and calculate the static coefficient of friction from that data. Having done the testing, the Armour Quartz came in at 86 grams of force on average needed to get the block moving. To figure out that coefficient of friction, we're going to divide by the weight of the block, which is 1,040 grams. And we can see we got 0.08 as the static coefficient of friction. That's very slick, and it's absolutely getting 10 points. By contrast, the Pro formula got 72 grams of force needed to break the block free, and less grams of force is better. That means the surface is slicker. So let's divide this by 1,040. And in this case, we can see we're going to round up, and we're going to get 0.07 as the static coefficient of friction. That ties it for the slickest product that I've measured in my current test suite, which was the C6 Hydrolite. So the Pro formulation, incredibly slick. Both of these products are going to provide excellent protection in the form of slickness. This is indeed an important factor. I know sometimes people overlook it. If you were to take a sharp piece of, let's say, tungsten, and you were going to use it to scratch this painted surface, it would be much easier to scratch the bare clear coat than the slicker coated surface. And it's not because the coating is so strong or so thick, it's microscopically thin. You would really need electron microscopy to be able to truly see them well. And I know a lot of times people also talk about the hardness of coatings. They'll talk about like a 9H coating. Those are all pencil hardnesses. They're all within a very short window of different hardnesses, and they're all similar to your fingernail and similar to the clear coat itself. Earlier, we used my eyes to figure out just how pretty these two Armour coatings were, and they are indeed very pretty. But now we can actually look at an objective test where we're going to use a gloss meter to figure out the specular reflection. There is a gap in the middle. This is the control surface, and after polishing and prep, these panels read 88 gloss units on average across 5 samples. So we're going to take 5 readings on the treated areas and see if that gloss has gone up or if it's gone down, and we'll score accordingly, so you can lose points here. Now that I've averaged out the gloss unit ratings, I can tell you that the Armour Quartz got 85.9 gloss units on average. That's a loss of 2.1 gloss units. Now that's not huge, it's generally below what most people's eye can perceive, but the Pro formula hit 89.1 gloss units on average for a gain of 1.1 gloss units. It actually did bring up the specular reflection, that shine. It does reflect more light, which does make it a little bit prettier. However, again, these are all still very small numbers, and I think this test, because these two products are so close, is a great way to kind of visualize it. It's very difficult to perceive any difference between these two because they both look so good on black, and because that difference is only 3 gloss units. So I wouldn't worry about 2-3 gloss units here. What we don't want to see is like an 8, 9, 10 gloss unit drop. When it comes to choosing the right LSP to protect your paint, durability is a major factor. Now, before we get started, I'm going to spray down the panel with water just to show you how the product performs before the test starts. You'll notice we have a control strip down the center of the test area, and that's how we're comparing to see if the product is starting to degrade. One thing I do like to show is you can see the control so clearly here once you introduce shampoo. This ulcometer drags a terry-covered pad across the surface, while a gentle shampoo helps with lubrication. This simulates what a wash might be like. It's not exactly a perfect analog for a hand car wash, but it gives us a great idea. You're going to see a scoring chart on your screen, and this test is done in stages. 10 washes, 20, 50, 100, 300, and 1,000. At each stage, water is sprayed on the surface to assess the hydrophobic performance. Once failure is observed, the test is stopped, and the product receives the score corresponding to its last successful run. It is important to clarify that this test is just a measure of durability under controlled, repeatable abrasion, not a direct test of longevity. like you would experience in the real world. That depends on many environmental and user-specific variables. Still, this does give us meaningful insight in how well a product can resist breaking down. Even at 1,000 washes, both these Armour products are doing very well. I'm not seeing a wear line anywhere. In fact, I'm gonna spray on a little bit of shampoo just to show you how there's absolutely no wear line. I know we usually stop our scoring at 1,000, and today will be no different, but I kind of want to set them through for another 1,000 and see if any difference appears. I'm almost out of shampoo, so I hope we got a result within 2,000. With 2,000, let's take a look. Man, it's still flawless. Let's spray a little shampoo and see if maybe there's some difference. I feel like we could send these through for another couple of thousand. At this point, I'm sort of bored. And again, I don't want to mix up more shampoos, so we're gonna stop at the 2,000 and just say that both these have fantastic abrasion resistance. With our testing complete, it's fair to say these two little bottles certainly pack a powerful punch. Let's talk about what the difference is and whether or not they're worth spending your hard-earned money on. I think the two products are very close in performance. We saw excellent ease of use, we saw excellent durability, really all the categories were great. We did see that the consumer product lost a little bit of gloss while the Pro product did raise it a little bit. The Pro product was also a tiny bit slicker. I think the durability could have maybe shown a difference if we did thousands more wash scrubs, but really I didn't want to mix up more shampoo, and I gotta kind of limit the wear and tear on the machine. It is an expensive machine, so I can't just do each product for 10,000 washes or something like that. So obviously I would call both of these like semi-permanent from a wash perspective. There is, of course, chemical durability and things like that. That'll be affected by where you live, whether there's road salt. Looks-wise, it's very hard to tell them apart. They're very, very similar on both red and black. They're stunning on black, and they're very good on red. Absolutely deserves a 10 across the board. In the hydrophobicity, interestingly, the consumer product was a tiny bit better, but really they were still very close together. So ultimately, if I was gonna pick between these two, what would I recommend? And I think it depends on who I'm recommending it to. If I was recommending it to someone that does not have a lot of experience, I think the difference between these two products is too small to say like, ooh, try to get your hands on the Pro one. Clearly, the consumer one is incredibly good. It's very easy to use. It gives you a little bit more flash time. It seems to be a little more gentle in that way. The Pro one, I think for somebody that has experience, like myself or a professional detailer, it has an advantage in being so quick flashing. You can move really quickly. Now, I also like it if a product has a very long flash time. So if the product takes, let's say 10, 15 minutes to flash, I can go around and do a lot of the car, come back and start wiping it up. Either case, that's a little bit more advanced because you're leaving yourself up to the risk of missing spots. And that's where the consumer version excels. You get more working time. If you miss it a little bit, you still have more working time. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I want to remind you to like, subscribe, ring the bell, and make sure to leave me a comment to get that positive engagement going. You know the algorithm loves it, and it's the one way you can support my channel for free. And if you've never been to the channel before, maybe it's your first time viewing, I do this kind of in-depth nerdy testing all the time. I also do some car mods, some car repair videos, general how-tos, detailing how-tos. There's something here for you if you're a car person, so do make sure to check me out again in the future. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you again real soon in a future video.